My 28M friends slash coworkers, 20M slash F, are mocking my wife, 22F, and our arranged marriage. Not sure how to address or deal with this. My wife and I have been married for close to a year now. She was born and raised in India her entire life, while I have been raised here in America since I was 4 years old. As you all saw in the title, this was an arranged marriage, and I met her around 2 weeks before the wedding. Despite not knowing each other for a longer period of time, we have grown very close and I care for her deeply. My main group of friends, however, many whom I have known since college, have joked and made fun of our marriage and my wife. For example, we were at a dinner party a couple months ago, and my friends were talking about something. My wife then commented, but because she has a pretty pronounced Indian accent, she butchered a few words, and everyone laughed and began to impersonate and make fun of her. I could see how much this hurt her, and for the rest of the night, she was silent and later on asked to leave early. This was the only time this occurred in front of her, but many times when I have gone out with my buddies, they casually make fun of her accent or her confusion when it comes to American traditions and customs, and every time I tell them enough, they say, "I'm just joking, man. Chill out," or "Don't take it so seriously." In addition, there have been a few times when I've gone out or talked with coworkers, and when they begin to talk about or complain about their relationships and I chime in, they basically ignore or make snide remarks regarding what I have to say. I specifically remember one time where a coworker said, "What do you know about marriage? Yours is not even an actual marriage." I suppose I'm asking for help on how to deal with these sorts of comments, as I'm sure more will come throughout my marriage. My wife is naturally just very shy, so I know she won't try and defend herself when shit like this happens. She hasn't been able to make any friends since coming here and refuses to come out with me because of my friends. I know she feels homesick at times, and I really want to help her come out of her shell because she's a wonderful person and her happiness is extremely important to me. So I suppose I have 2 questions. How can I deal with my friends and coworkers? And how do I help my wife gain more confidence and come out of her shell? TLDR, my wife and I are in an arranged marriage. My friends and coworkers have mocked and made fun of both her and our marriage. How can I deal with this, while also helping my wife feel better and more confident? Relevant comments. Age of women. How can I deal with my friends and coworkers? Firmly, but politely. "I'm just joking, man. Chill out. You might be joking, but I am not. Don't take it so seriously. That is my wife you were talking about, and I am taking it seriously." And how do I help my wife gain more confidence and come out of her shell? Are there any interests your wife has, and are there any clubs in your area that correspond to her interests? Are there Indian communities in your area? Also, you might want to do a fun activity together, like dancing, assuming she likes to dance. Or go swimming or cycling together. Preferably something outdoorsy. OOP. Yes, in fact there is one Indian community/club she has been interested in joining. I'm hoping she feels a bit more at home there. And she really enjoys cycling. I think that's an excellent idea. Thank you. Deleted. I have to agree your friends sound like assholes. Have they never met or known anyone for whom English is a second language? Have they ever traveled to a country where they didn't know the language? I'm horrified they'd mock her accent. If you want to remain friends with them, then you're going to have to shut down those comments. I was joking. Answer. It's not a joke. It's very rude and hurtful. Your marriage isn't real. Answer. That's a rude comment. Why would you say something like that? Your friends seem unable to accept cultures and customs different from their own. OOP. I know this may sound weird, but this is the way they've always been. We've always joked around about race and other stupid shit like that, and I never really took it seriously. I've only really started seeing how bad it is now that I see the way it affects my wife. Top comment. Kooky to monster. You need new friends. These ones are awful. My coworker was from India and she had an arranged marriage, and it was one of the sweetest relationships I've seen. Choose friends that respect you, not hurt you. Update, 2 days later. After reading through the comments on my previous post, it really surprised and shocked me how many people thought my friends were racist, bigots, or assholes. It struck a chord deep in me with how many outsiders had such a different perspective on the issue, where I thought I wasn't being firm enough and my friends were just ignorant in terms of the ramifications of their actions, whereas the vast majority of commentators thought they were just plain assholes and racists. I guess I was hoping if I was simply firm in my resolve and told them in no uncertain terms if their disrespectful behavior were to continue, we could no longer continue socializing. They would see the error in their ways and hopefully apologize to my wife. So yesterday, I asked them if we could all meet up to discuss something important, and after work we all went for drinks. Once we started talking, I told them how disrespectful they were being towards both my wife and I, and addressed how much it had hurt my wife to be made fun of just because of her accent and ignorance when it comes to American customs. I continued by saying that I understand we usually joke about these sorts of topics, such as race, but that I now realized how wrong it was and it all needed to stop. They did not take me seriously at all. Immediately, everyone began commenting on how much of a itch I'd become since getting married, and I was always so prissy and sensitive about shit we'd used to laugh about all the time. They continued by saying I never enjoyed myself anymore, and how I'd basically abandoned our group because I was always spending time with my wife. I was constantly trying to respond or defend myself, but the fuckers kept interrupting me and wouldn't let me say anything. They also said I stopped partying like I used to. Like, what the fuck? Sorry, I'm not interested in getting shit-faced at the club every Friday night. We're not in college anymore. Then one of the guys says, are you being all uptight because you're not getting laid anymore? I'm surprised, man. If my wife was as hot as my wife's name, I'd be banging the shit out of her every day. Then all of them fucking laughed like he'd made a hilarious joke instead of being a massive douchebag. After that, I was done with them and told them I no longer wanted to socialize with people who were being completely disrespectful and held bigoted attitudes towards my wife, then left. Once I got home, my wife immediately asked what was wrong. I suppose I must have still looked pissed off over what transpired. I told her how sorry I was over the way I handled the situation, and she would no longer have to deal with their mocking and bullying. She looked extremely guilty that I said this, and told me I didn't have to sacrifice my happiness and friendships just to please her, and I should continue hanging out with them if I really wanted to. I don't know, I'm kind of embarrassed to admit it, but I started crying like a baby. This woman, who'd left everything behind, her life, family, friends, to travel halfway across the world to a completely different country, all on the promise that I would provide her with a better life, thought this entire situation was her fault, and was saying I should prioritize my happiness over her own feelings or well-being. It broke me and made me realize what a selfish prick I was. So I spent over an hour convincing her this wasn't her fault at all, and that she should never believe my feelings are more important than hers, and whenever she is feeling hurt or angry, she should express those feelings without ever thinking it was wrong to do so. I'm very saddened by how long I had allowed this to transpire and have a ton of making up to do. Also, I just wanted to express my thanks on Reddit. This was the main reason I posted an update. Your guys' comments really helped take the wool off my eyes and understand the reality of the situation. We're in a much better place now because of it, and I truly do appreciate everything. Thank you. TLDR, got rid of my friends. You were right, they are a bunch of assholes. Final comments. Dump_cake. You're a good man, OP, and I know you will find friends who are not pricks and will not make fun of you and your wife. OOP. Thank you. And yeah, there are some really nice people I've met through my gym who have been nothing but kind to both my wife and I. I'm planning to hang out with them much more now. I'm really hoping I choose better friends this time around, LOL. Deleted. All of these guys are single, right? OOP. Haha, no actually. The one who made the sex comment is married, another is engaged, and the rest are single. Princess Puss. Wow. So that guy was also insulting his own wife with that comment. Classy. OOP. Yeah, he treats his wife like shit and cheats on her constantly. Have no respect for that man.